Salvete discipuli. In today's lesson, we will continue our exploration of Caesar's attempted invasion of Britannia, and we will see how an unnamed soldier will step forward and save the day for Caesar. Okay, so in the previous sentence, we saw how Caesar ordered a bunch of things to happen to try to address this crisis he was having of his forces as they're trying to come aground, they're being attacked, and they start to now return fire. And we continue with this sentence. Quae res magno usui nostris fuit. Okay, so which thing? Now the which thing is referring to all the stuff that Caesar just ordered. Okay, which thing fuit was. Fuit is the perfect tense of the verb to be. We usually see the imperfect erat, but the perfect tense is for a single action that is completed in the past. Okay, so which thing was. Now, we are now going to have what is called a double dative. Okay, so there's one name for this is called the double dative. Another name for it is dative of advantage. Okay, so the first dative is magno usui. Which thing was, literally, for a great use. Okay, so just like magnum bonum means a great good, magno usui means for a great use. Who was it for a great use for? Nostris, meaning to our, understood, to our men or our soldiers. Okay, so for a thing to be for something for others, okay, this is the dative of advantage. The phrase cui bono, okay, which literally means like to whom is it for a good, okay, cui bono means like who benefits from this, okay. Now, you could translate that more naturally, which thing was very useful to our men. But literally, magno usui is dative, and nostris is also dative. Okay, so again, double dative or dative of advantage. Nam et navium figura et remorum motu et inusitato genere tormentorum per moti barbari constiterunt, ac Paulum modo pedem retulerunt. Okay, so there's really only two main verbs here, constiterunt and retulerunt. Okay, so just give you an idea of where we're going. The subject is going to be barbari, and the barbari are going to be described as per moti, and they're per moti by a bunch of things. Okay, so let's dig in and see how this works. Nam, for barbari, the barbarians. Now they're described as per moti, that's terrified. It can mean like greatly moved, okay? They're basically really shook up over something. What they're terrified by, figura, okay? This is ablative. They're terrified by something. Remember that ablative hanging in the middle of space, the go-to translation of the ablative is like by something, with something, or in something, okay? So what they're terrified by is the shape. Now you're going to have some genitive plurals that are modifying these ablatives. They're terrified by the shape, navium, of the ships. Okay? Because keep in mind, they've never seen ships like these. You know, the Romans are attacking, and they've never seen ships like these. So they are terrified, per moti, by the shape of the ships. What else are they terrified by? Remorum motu. Again, ablative singular of a fourth declension noun. They're terrified by the motion, remorum, another genitive plural. Remorum, the motion of the oars. You know, so maybe the Celts have never seen a boat that's got like these oars sticking out the side like the Romans. So they're terrified by the shape of the ships. They're terrified by the motion of the oars. And what else are they terrified by? The inusitato genere, the unaccustomed type. Okay, so the nominative here is genus. We have like genus is the English word borrowed from it. So by the shape, what kind of a type? By the unaccustomed type, inusitato. The unaccustomed type tormentorum, of the engines. And when we say engines here, what we mean is like catapults, okay? They've never seen this kind of thing. So as Caesar is now ordering all this stuff to start attacking, the enemy who were on the shore and they were kind of harassing the Romans, they're really now going to take stock and they do something. Constiterunt. They stopped, okay? The barbarians. So again, terrified by the shape of the ships and the motion of the oars and the unaccustomed type of the engines, stopped. Constiterunt. And what did they do? Retulerunt. They brought back. Now the object of retulerunt, brought back, is pedem. Pedem is the accusative singular, just the word for foot. They brought back the foot. Okay, now what does that mean militarily? If you're fighting somebody and they brought back the foot, okay, this basically means that they retreated. Paulum modo, now a little, okay? So they pulled back now a little, meaning they retreated, okay? So Caesar's orders have had their intended effect, okay? He has gotten the enemy to now pull back a little bit. This is what Caesar needed. He still has a desperate problem, okay? These boats are not going to be able to go all the way to shore. These men are going to have to jump in the water and swim to shore. And they're going to have to do this like with all their gear and their weapons. It's going to have to be done. Who's going to do it first? That's the question. You know, I mean, would you be the first person to jump overboard while the enemy is still on the shore like that? So let's see what happens next. At nostris militibus cunctantibus maxime propter altitudinem maris, qui decimae legiones aquilam ferebat, obte status Deos ut eares legioni feliciter eveniret. Okay, here's what happened. We have a little ablative absolute. Literally, at means but, okay? Nostris militibus cunctantibus. Literally, with our soldiers delaying, okay? When you have a present active participle as the main verb, so to speak, in an ablative absolute, you could translate this while our soldiers were delaying, okay? So I'm leaving this literally with our soldiers delaying, but you could say, but while our soldiers were delaying, how were they delaying? Maxime, greatly. Why were they delaying? Propter, on account of. On account of what? A propter takes an accusative. On account of the depth, altitudinem. Now it's interesting, we get the word altitude from this. The word altitudino means a length of space in the vertical plane. So you can talk about the altitude up, and you can also talk about the altitude down, okay? So if you're talking about the altitude maris, of the sea, this is a genitive, okay, maris, of the sea, you would translate it depth, okay? So they were delaying greatly on account of the depth of the sea, okay? So, again, remember what I said, who's going to jump out first? Well, here's the answer, qui. The one who ferebat, the one who was carrying. The direct object of ferebat is going to be the accusative aquilam, the one who was carrying the eagle, decimae legionis, genitive singular, the eagle of the 10th legion. Okay, so each legion had a person who was called an aquilifer, meaning the eagle bearer. Okay, and as you may know, it was considered a great shame if the eagle were to ever fall into enemy hands. Okay, this is a shame that no soldier could possibly bear. And so the one, qui, who was bearing the eagle of the 10th legion, guess what he's about to do? Opte status Deus, having sworn to the gods. Okay, this is the past participle of a deponent verb, and therefore active, and it takes an object. Deos is the accusative plural. Having sworn to the gods that something might happen. Okay? Having sworn to the gods, ut, okay? That eares, that thing. Now that thing is going to be what he's about to do, okay? What he's about to do, he is swearing to the gods, may this action be successful, may that thing turn out, evenirent. We get the word like event from this, like a thing, how it turned out. May it turn out how? May it turn out feliciter, may it turn out happily. Who may it turn out happily for? Legioni, a dative singular, that thing might turn out happily for the legion. Okay? Now, I've left you in suspense. What is it he's about to do? He just swore to the gods that whatever it is he's about to do, eares, that it might turn out happily for the legion. He's going to now make a little mini speech to his comrades. He says, Desilite comilitones, nisi vultus aquilam hostibus prodere. Okay, so remember, inquit just means said, and we almost want to always get it out of the way. Latin always puts it in the middle of the quote, but it doesn't really belong there. So, jump down, he said, comrades. Okay, so if you wanted to say, he said, jump down, comrades, desilite. Okay, this is the plural imperative. Okay, the te is the mark of the plural imperative, and he's addressing his comrades. He says, jump down, comrades, nisi, unless vultus, unless you want. Okay, now the irregular verb volo takes an infinitive to complete its action. So unless you want something to happen or to do something, and that thing is prodere. Unless you want to surrender, takes a direct object in the accusative, aquilam. Unless you want to surrender the eagle, hostibus, dative plural, to the enemies. You see what's about to happen here, okay? They would be greatly ashamed if that eagle fell into enemy hands. And you know what he's going to do? He's going to bring it to the enemy. The only way they can stop it from falling into enemy hands now is to jump out of the boat and fight. He continues his quote. Ego certe meum rei publicae atque imperatori officium praestitero. I, ego, certe, certainly. We jump to our verb. This is actually a future perfect. It's a relatively rare tense. I will have carried out. Okay? I will have carried out. The object is going to be in the accusative. It's meum officium, my duty. But what he's going to include here, he's going to have these dative complements, my duty for something and something else. Okay? I will have carried out my duty, meum officium, my duty rei publicae, to the republic and to the commander. Now, I just want to ask you this question. This is a guy, okay, this is not an officer. This is a foot soldier. He's got the job of carrying the eagle. Caesar is writing this probably years later. Did the guy really say this line? Did he really say meum, okay, and then these dative complements, meum rei publicae atque imperatori, and only then say officium? I find this highly unlikely. I think that the guy said something along these lines, and it was probably much more colloquial, and Caesar has basically he's kind of turned this into like a dramatic quote. But at any rate, this is the grammar of it. Future perfect. Okay, nice. You don't see a lot of those. I certainly will have carried out my duty to the republic and the commander. Hoc cum voce magna dixiset, say, ex navi proiecit atque in hostes aquilam ferre coipit. Okay, cum, when dixiset, this is a pluperfect subjunctive, okay, when he had spoken hoc, this thing, and the manner in which he spoke it was voce magna, with a loud voice, literally with a great voice, but voices are loud, okay? So when he had spoken this thing with a loud voice, what did he do? Proiecit, he threw. What did he threw? Say, he threw himself, Okay? He threw himself, where did he throw himself? Ex navi. He threw himself out of the ship. And what did he do? Coipit. He began. Coipit takes an infinitive to complete its action. He began to bring. Okay? And it takes now, fere takes an accusative object. He began to bring the eagle. Where is he bringing the eagle? In hostes, into the enemies. Okay? Meaning toward the enemies. Okay, so the other soldiers have no choice, okay? They cannot honestly sit in the boats and watch the Aquilifer, the one who carries the eagle. They can't watch him swimming to shore and get captured, okay? This is like going to be the most horrible disgrace on them. And so they are going to have to follow suit. They're going to have to jump in the water and begin the actual invasion.